Hey, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my photo chats. So today I want to talk about working a freelance job. I just did a freelance event coverage for an energy company here in Colorado called Yes Energy. And they were having a conference down at the Sheraton, the big hotel down in Denver. And I shot it last year. They called me back. I shot it this year. And I want to talk about what did I shoot with? Because I brought, multiple lenses, but really I only needed 2 lenses. For the most part, except for the speakers, when I was shooting the speakers, I was using a 200 millimeter lens. But really, the majority of the conference, I need 2 kinds of photos. I need 3 kinds of photos. I need photos of people schmoozing, looking like they're interested. I need pictures that show energy of the space, and I need something wide to show how big of an event it is. I need to showcase the place. I need to get it so that other people who see these marketing photos see them and say, I want to go to that. It's very well set up. It's beautifully attended. It's something that I need to be a part of. That's what, as an event coverage photographer, you're often doing. You're trying to make photographs that show people working and visiting the exhibitor booths. People engage with them. People engage with each other. There's networking going on. That's why you go to these events. And I use a Nikon 17 to 35 2.8 lens because that wide angle lens, I want to shoot super wide and I want to get the expanse of that ballroom. I want to get the expanse of the space they're in. But the other secret weapon is a simple 105 2.8 macro lens. Because the 105 is such a great lens for being able to isolate 2 people right over here and separate them from the background. That 17 to 35 is great for expansive shots and some shots of people, but it's going to always see a lot of people. The 105 isolates 2 people or 3 people or reaches past 2 people. And if you see a detail you want to get, like they had some lanyards and they had some swag that they always use. And I thought, they always tell me that they like those photos. They can always use those throughout the year. So this always comes in handy because it can photograph up close. It can photograph and isolate people with the wide 2.8 aperture. This one is a manual focus version. I've used at different conferences, I've used both autofocus and manual focus ones. But that focal length, I would say if I had to photograph only using 2 lenses and do a lot of work in a lot of places. I shot a Google conference and I used a 17 to 35 on one body and a 105 on the other, and that was it. And those 2 are such a great combination because the 35 is not extreme for when you want to shoot some wide angle stuff but not make it look like it's drastic. 17 is great for the expansive, and then you get the 105 and now you can go get isolation. You can bring people and create layers where they're in focus, people are out behind them. Almost anything that any photographer is working these, they're almost always shooting at 2.8 because there's not enough light to really shoot much more closed down. And also we need the speed to make sure people are frozen in the frame. We don't want any blur. But if you had to choose between 2 lenses for a typical coverage, I bet you could do a wedding with a 17 to 35 and a 105. Does that mean that you don't need a 50? A 50 is nice. How about a 70? Yeah. Or an 85, sure. But I can do it with a 17 to 35 and a 105, and I end up with the wide shots and the long shots, and I get all the coverage. And I'll put a link to the gallery that the client received, and you can see exactly what I did. And you can tell when you look at the pictures, I'm pretty sure, which ones are the wide angle lens, which ones are the telephoto, because it's pretty obvious. All right, that's today's photography talk. Making coverage with 2 lenses at an energy conference. All right, hey, if you're enjoying this, hit the subscribe button. If you can support it, the Patreon. Thanks to all my supporters. I appreciate you. I'll be back next week. We'll talk more photography. As always, here's the good light.